salam, and Alhamdulillah had reached where Hazrat Ibrahim alayhi salam goes and destroys the idols, and then he blames the big one, big idol, saying that the big one has destroyed the idols, the small ones, and go and ask them if you are true in your belief. Ibrahim alayhi salam asked this question to the people. If you're true in your belief, go and ask them. Why are you standing here? For go and ask them and find out if they really, if the big one actually attacked the small young ones, because and they were not able to even save themselves. So Ibrahim alayhi salam just wanted to prove himself, prove it to them that these idols are nothing. They can't talk. They can't save themselves. They can't protect themselves. There's no protection against destruction. So this is what happened after that. Ibrahim alayhi salam was taken to the king called Namrud. So let us see what further on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions in the Quran. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ألم تر إلى الذي حاج في رب إبراهيم في ربه أن آتاه الله الملك إذ قال إبراهيم ربي الذي يحيي ويميت قال أنا أحيي وأميت قال إبراهيم فإن الله يأتي بالشمس من المشرق فأت بها من المغرب فبهت الذي كفر والله لا يهدي القوم الظالمين. Have you not considered the one who had an argument with Ibrahim about his Lord, because Allah had given him kingdom? When Ibrahim said, "My Lord is he who gives life and causes death," he replied, "I give life and cause death." Ibrahim said, "Surely Allah brings the sun from the east, so you bring it from the west." Thereupon he who disbelieved was confounded, meaning he was dumbfounded, he couldn't answer to this. And Allah guides not the evil doing people. And this was Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions the debate between his Khalil and the tyrant king who claimed for himself divine powers. So Sayyidina Ibrahim alayhi salam turned on him his own arguments and brought to light his deep ignorance and lack of intelligence and worthlessness of his arguments. So the scholars mention that he was the king of Babylon. Babylon. His name was Nimrud bin Qawan bin Khos bin Sam bin Nuh, and there's other suggestions as well. So as for Nimrud, when Sayyidina Ibrahim invited him to worship Allah without associating partners with him, he argued with him until Sayyidina Ibrahim told him that only Allah is the one who gives life and causes death. According to Qatada, Suddi and Muhammad bin Ishaq, he summoned two men who had been sentenced to death. He commanded that one of them should be killed, and he forgave the other. But this was not the argument advanced by Sayyidina Ibrahim alayhi salam. He was speaking in a comprehensive manner of the creation of the universe and life from nothingness, and death and extinction. That was what he had meant, saying, "My Lord gives life and causes death." So when Namrud claimed to be able to do that, Sayyidina Ibrahim alayhi salam pointed out to him that Allah brings the sun from the east. So let us see if you can bring it from the west. The sun is set on daily course and moves on schedule just as its creator has appointed for it. He, the creator, is the one besides whom there is no God, who is the creator of all things. So if you think you can, give life and cause death, then let us see if you can alter the direction of the sun. His argument was that he who gives life and causes death can do what he wishes. He is not hindered by anyone, and he is not overcome either. So if you think that you're able to do it, go ahead, do it. But if you cannot, then if you cannot do it, then you are not what you think. You are nothing. Namrud was confounding, meaning he was not able to reply to this because he knew he can't do it. According to Surah, this argument took place on the day Sayyid Ibrahim salam came out of the fire. It was reported by Zayd bin Aslam that Namrud had food supplies in his control, and Ibrahim was not the one of those who waited for it. Because of the argument, Namrud did not provide Ibrahim salam with any food while he gave it to others. Since he was empty-handed, he filled it with 2 bags with sand near his home. He said to himself that it would keep his family occupied. At home, he placed that sack on a side and rested himself, but sleep overtook him. His wife Seerah opened the bags and found them full of delicious food. Subhanallah. So we understand from here that Ibrahim alayhi salam took sand, not food, but Allah provided them. She prepared the food, and when he woke up, he asked her where she got it from. She reminded him that he had brought 2 bags filled with it. He understood it was the provision of Allah that he had provided. Zayd bin Aslam has also said that Allah sent to this oppressor king an angel who commanded him to believe, but he refused to believe. He invited him a second time and third time, but he refused again. So the angel said to him, you call your crowds and I will call mine. Namrud collected his forces, his armies at that time of sunrise. Allah sent to him armies of mosquitoes, so many that the sun was eclipsed by the numbers. They overpowered Namrud and his forces, eating their flesh and sucking their blood. All that remained of them was bony skeletons. One of them got into the nostril of the king and stayed there for 400 years. Allah punished him in this manner. All this time he used to strike his head with a hammer until Allah caused him to die. So from this we understand that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't need a huge, strong army. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can just use small insects and flies and can destroy his enemies in just one go. The Allah the Exalted said, فَآمَنَ لَهُ لُوطٌ وقال إني مهاجر إلى ربي إنه هو العزيز الحكيم ووهبنا له إسحاق ويعقوب وجعلنا في ذريته النبوة والكتاب وآتيناه أجره في الدنيا وإنه في الآخرة لمن الصالحين. And Lut believed in him, Ibrahim alayhi salam, and Ibrahim alayhi salam said, surely I will flee to my Lord, surely he is the mighty, the wise. And we granted him Ishaq and Yaqub, and we assigned a prophethood and a book amongst his progeny, and we gave him his reward in this world, and surely in the hereafter he shall be among the righteous. In Surah Al-Anbiya, Allah tells us that he rescued him and Lut alayhi salam, and they went to a blessed land. He tells us that he wanted him Ishaq and Yaqub, whom he guided them to, meaning them to be righteousness, and made them leaders of the people. When he left his people for the sake of Allah, he had with him his wife who was barren, and they had no child, and Lut, the son of his brother Haran. After that, Allah granted him pious children and gave prophethood and the book to his offspring. In fact, every prophet that came after him was from his offspring, and every book that was revealed to a prophet after him was on one of his descendants. This was a robe of honor from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for him. He left his country, family and relatives and migrated to another land so that he could worship his Lord and invite people to him. And Allah said about the land to which he migrated, Seerah, وَكُلًّا جَعَلْنَا صَالِحِينَ, to that land we had blessed for the worlds. This was what Abu bin Ka'b and Aliyah and Al-Qatada said. And Ibn Abbas radiallahu ta'ala anhu has asked, have you not heard Allah's word? إن أول بيت وضع للناس للذي ببكة مباركا وهدى للعالمين. Surely the first house of worship appointed for mankind was that at Bakkah, a blessed place and a guidance for the people of the worlds. This is mentioned in Al Imran. While Ka'b al-Ahbar believes it is Haran, we have already stated that the people of the book say about the departure from Babylon and arrival at Haran and death of his father Tariq. The book of the people say that when Sayyidina Ibrahim Islam reached Syria, Allah revealed to him that he would give that place to his offspring after him, so he thanked Allah by making an offering. They say that he went to Baytul Maqdis and to Yemen and then to Egypt. They relate the story of Seerah alayhi salam with the king of Egypt, that Sayyidina Ibrahim salam advises her to tell him that he was her brother. They also mention about the king offering her Hajra. They went away from there to the land of Tayman, the Baytul Maqdis, which he loved. He had with him animals, servants and property. Bukhari has narrated a hadith from Abu Hurairah radiallahu ta'ala anhu that Ibrahim did not lie except 3 lies. 2 of these lies were for the sake of Allah. He's saying, Inni saqim, surely I am sick. And he's saying, Bal fa'ala kabirum hada, nay, he has done it. This, the big one of them. Then he and Sarah came to the territory of a tyrant and of the several tyrants, and the tyrant was told that a man has come here and he has a beautiful woman with him. So he sent for Ibrahim and asked him, who is she? He replied, my sister. Then he returned to Sarah and said, O Sarah, there is no one on face of the earth who is a believer except me and you. This man asked me, and I told him that you are my sister, so do not contradict me, meaning do not go against this. The tyrant then called her, and when she went there, he tried to hold her with his hand, but he got stiff. He pleaded for her to pray to Allah, for him, and he would not harm her if she prayed. So she prayed to him, and he got well, and again extended his hand and became as severe as before. Again he said to her, please pray for me, I will not harm you. So she prayed, and he was well, and he summoned some of the guards and said, you have not brought me a human being, but a devil, meaning shaitan. Then he gave her a maidservant Hajra. She returned and found Ibrahim alayhi salam praying, and he asked for justice of the hand, what had happened. Through the justice he asked her what had happened. She said, Allah has foiled the evil designs of the infidel or the immoral man, and he gave me Hajra for your service. Abu Hurairah radiallahu ta'ala anhu then said, and that is your mother, O Abu As-Sama, meaning the Arabs. The next hadith is again from Bukhari, and yet another from Ahmad with these words, that when he stretched his hands, she performed ablution and offered her prayer, and then made a supplication to Allah. O Allah, if you know that I believe in you and your messenger, and I have preserved my chastity, save with me my husband, and do not let the disbeliever overpower me. He then plunged into the water and kept striking his feet. She then pleaded with Allah, O Allah, if he dies, he will be presumed, and I have killed him. So Allah set him free. But he again displayed his evil designs, and she prayed as before, and the same thing happened to him until he was released. The third or the fourth time, he said, you have not brought me, meaning you have not brought me, but a devil. Go to Ibrahim and return her to him. She came back to Ibrahim and said to him, do you know that Allah has foiled the mischief of the disbeliever and given us a girl to serve us? As for this, for the saying of Ibrahim alayhi salam, she is my sister, it means on the basis of religion of Allah, and he's saying that there is no one on the face of earth who is a believer except me and you. It means a believing pair of husband and wife, and a wife apart from me and you, for they had with them Lut alayhi salam, who was a prophet. And when she returned to him, he asked her in gesture, what's the news? She answered, surely Allah caused the disbelievers' plan to fizzle out, In another version, in Imran man's plan, and he was the king. So let us inshallah ta'ala now move on to the birth of Hazrat Ismail alayhi salam and Hajra, inshallah ta'ala, as we go along during the days of Hajj. Hope this whatever has been said today, the story of Hazrat Ibrahim has been benefit to the listeners and full of knowledge, inshallah. And Jazakallah so much for tuning in today's program. We hope to continue with the story of Hazrat Ismail Ibrahim inshallah ta'ala, in the next program. Jazakallah for listening. This is Molana Huzaifah signing out. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
अल्लाह से क़ल्ब जगाए जा ला इलाहा इल्लल्लाह 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 अल्लाह से क़ल्ब जगाए जा अल्लाह से क़ल्ब जगाए जा ये शहनाई रंगो बो कुछ दिनों की बात है ये शहनाई रंगो बो कुछ दिनों की बात है ये अक़ीदा सच्चा है कि यकता रब की ज़ात है ये अक़ीदा सच्चा है कि यकता रब की ज़ात है खो न जान कहीं नहीं जान कहीं खो न जान कहीं नहीं जान कहीं अल्लाह से दिल को लगाए जा ला इलाहा इल्लल्लाह